In 2008, someone calling themselves Satoshi Nakamoto published 9 pages that would reshape global finance. Then they vanished. They left behind 1 million coins worth over $75 billion. Not one has ever moved. For 16 years, every journalist, coder, and government agency failed to unmask the author. Then the New York Times sent the reporter who destroyed Theranos. His AI returned one name: a British cryptographer who says he cannot remember the emails Satoshi sent him before Bitcoin existed. Before Bitcoin had a name, it had a grandfather. In 1997, a Cambridge-trained cryptographer named Adam Back published Hashcash. The system used proof of work to fight email spam. It forced computers to solve small puzzles before sending messages. The idea was groundbreaking and largely ignored. Back belonged to a small community of cryptographers who believed privacy was a political act. They called themselves Cypherpunks, and they traded ideas on mailing lists that read like manifestos. 11 years later, Satoshi Nakamoto cited Hashcash as reference number 6 in the Bitcoin whitepaper. But before publishing, Satoshi did something unusual. They emailed Back directly. Back says he does not remember that email. The email that cited his life's work in a paper that created a trillion-dollar system. Between January 2009 and December 2010, Satoshi mined roughly 1.1 million Bitcoin. They corresponded with developers. They refined the code. Then, without warning, they vanished. The silence lasted years. Others tried to fill it. In 2016, Craig Wright claimed to be Satoshi. In 2024, a UK High Court ruled definitively that he was not. The void remained open. And John Carreyrou, the journalist whose investigation brought down a $9 billion fraud at Theranos, decided to step into it. He assembled a team. He commissioned a computational linguist, and he built a database large enough to let a machine do what humans could not. Carreyrou hired Florian Caffiero, a French computational linguist who had developed a new approach to unmasking anonymous authors. His method treats writing like a fingerprint. Not what someone says, but how they say it. The rhythm of their commas. The words they reach for when they are not thinking. Caffiero's team collected 134,000 posts from cypherpunk mailing lists between 1992 and 2008. They fed everything into statistical models trained to detect unconscious habits. 12 suspects emerged from the initial pass. The algorithm flagged patterns that no human reader would notice in isolation. British spellings like color and analyze mixed with American alternatives. Double spaces after periods. A consistent confusion between its and its. Identical hyphen misuse across decades of writing. The word bloody deployed as a casual intensifier. One by one, the suspects fell away, all but one. Adam Back, but Caffiero himself called the result inconclusive. One other candidate had scored nearly as high, Hal Finney, a cryptographic pioneer who received the very first Bitcoin transaction from Satoshi in January 2009. Finney died of ALS in 2014. Whether he was Satoshi can never be confirmed. The stylometric evidence pointed toward Back, but pointing is not proving. Carreyrou needed something more. In January 2026, he found Back at a Bitcoin conference hotel in El Salvador. The tropical heat outside. The air-conditioned lobby quiet. Carreyrou flew 9 hours for a 2-hour conversation. Back sat across from him and denied everything. The 6th denial came after Carreyrou read a sentence from one of Satoshi's early forum posts aloud. He read it slowly, watching Back's face. Back finished the sentence before Carreyrou reached the end. Back caught himself. He said it was professional curiosity. A man who claims he cannot remember a historic email does not typically finish sentences from a document he says he never wrote. On April 8, 2026, the New York Times published a 10,000-word investigation. It did not declare that Adam Back is Satoshi Nakamoto. It declared that every tool available to modern journalism now points at him. Two explanations survive, and neither is comfortable. The first holds that Adam Back is Satoshi Nakamoto. The technical lineage runs clean. Back invented the proof-of-work system that Bitcoin was built on. Back was the only living suspect whose writing matched Satoshi's across 134,000 samples. His timeline contains a gap during exactly the years Satoshi was active, and in a hotel lobby in El Salvador, he completed a sentence that only the author would know by heart. If this is true, Back has spent 17 years watching people lose fortunes, watching governments scramble, watching his own name surface again and again, all while sitting on $75 billion he refuses to touch. That is perhaps the most disciplined act of ideological commitment in financial history. The second theory holds that Back is telling the truth. The cypherpunk community was small. Its members shared vocabulary, habits, and philosophical commitments. Stylometric overlap could simply reflect a shared culture rather than a shared identity. But this theory cannot explain why Back claims not to remember an email from someone who cited his life's work in a paper that created a trillion-dollar asset class. That is not a forgettable email. There is no clean exit from either answer. That is the point. Somewhere in the Bitcoin blockchain, 1.1 million coins sit in wallets that have not been touched since 2010. They represent roughly 5% of all Bitcoin that will ever exist. At current prices, they are worth more than the GDP of most nations. If Adam Back is Satoshi, he has maintained a denial for over 17 years while sitting on one of the largest fortunes in human history. He has watched others claim his work, watched courts rule on his identity, watched journalists circle closer. If he is not Satoshi, then the creator of Bitcoin remains unknown, and the most sophisticated linguistic analysis ever applied to an authorship question has failed. Either answer means that someone built a system now woven into the infrastructure of global finance, then turned their back on all of it. The white paper was 9 pages. The silence has lasted 16 years. Is Adam Back the one who wrote them?